Virginia Republican Senate candidate George Allen is getting a big boost in just moments. Florida Senator Marco Rubio will give him a hand campaigning in Arlington. They will appear together at the Company Flowers. That's a florist shop. After winning Tuesday's Republican primary, the Senate race in November is now between Allen and Democrat Tim Kaine. And joining us from Arlington is George Allen, the former governor and former senator from Virginia. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Allison, and I've even picked out a gardenia from here that I'll buy myself for a Father's Day gift.
Well, I thought you said it was going to be, I thought you were going to say it was for me, but all right, that's good too. Happy Father's Day coming up.
Well, I like gardenias, and I'd like to get one that'll grow around our home where we live. I think that
is a fine plan. Big win on Tuesday, coming right out of the gate with that campaign stop in Arlington. Tell us why this location.
Well, this location's a small business, and small businesses are where the jobs are, and most jobs are created by small businesses who are worried about the regulations, high fuel costs, and inact in Washington. In fact, Mr. Nicholson, who's one of the co-owners of this facility, said, gosh, I just want some certainty, make decisions. And I do think that this is a time for making tough decisions, but also empowering decisions. I envision a much better future than what we're having to endure these days, and we do need competitive, simple tax laws. I think we need to unleash our American energy resources, and regulations need to be reasonable. And if we do that, then the entrepreneurial spirit of our country can be reinvigorated, and there'll be more job opportunities.
In fact, you've put out the blueprint for America's comeback. I have it right here. I apologize, I don't have a color printer, but the message is still the same inside. You go into great detail about cutting what you call dangerous debt, also the taxes on job creators, and counterproductive energy policies. Tell us more about this blueprint.
Well, all of it. I think our tax laws, the federal government imposes the highest taxes in the world on job-creating businesses at 35%. I propose to reduce it to a more simple, fair, and competitive 20%, which would create over 500,000 new jobs a year. Regulations need to be reasonable. They need to have common sense. They're too burdensome, especially on small businesses. And then on energy, great news in energy is that we're #1 in the world when it comes to energy resources. And Virginians, from the coal fields to our ports to our coast, are ready, willing, and able to provide the energy to power America. And indeed, on day one, I would introduce, if I'm hired on to represent the people of Virginia, I'm going to introduce a bill to allow Virginia to produce oil and gas off our coast and then use the royalties for roads and transportation. We need to take control of our own destiny, and we have the opportunity to do so with the right leadership, and I aim to provide it.
Your Democratic challenger, of course, former Governor Tim Kaine for the Senate seat come November, was on the show yesterday, and to sort of recreate what he said that you were part of the problem when you were in Senate the last time around, saying that your approach helped to create the economic mess that we find ourselves in now. How do you respond to that?
Well, I respond that I'd be happy to compare our visions. When I left the Senate, unemployment was around 4.5%. And Tim Kaine's been an advocate for so many of these policies that have put our country in this poor economy of unemployment of over 8% for 40 straight months, underemployment of 19%, where young people and middle-aged people may have a job but not utilizing their talents and skills. We have the credit rating of our country downgraded for the first time ever, and also these draconian, devastating cuts to our military readiness and jobs in Virginia. So Tim Kaine's approach of raising taxes and more regulations and higher debt and more government programs is not the solution. The best social program of all is a job. When somebody has a job, they're taking care of themselves and their families rather than being dependent on the government. And so, I envision a better future than what we're having to endure these days. And these are the policies, including Obamacare, which is a major impediment for small businesses to hire anyone on because they're worried about the cost occasioned by this government takeover of health care. Plus, you have people's religious liberties that are impinged upon, seniors worried about access to doctors who will take Medicare patients. You have the medical professions, from orthodontists to hospitals, worried about it. So Tim Kaine thinks Obamacare is, quote, a great achievement. I want to be the deciding vote to repeal Obamacare and then replace it with more personal, portable, market-based approaches using, say, health savings accounts where people can take their insurance from job to job and not have to worry about pre-existing conditions not being covered, go to a new insurance or new job. So I think there's some really positive ideas that my wife Susan and I are advocating all over the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I think we're going to have not only all the wings of the Republican Party united and flapping together in the same direction, but we're going to get a lot of independent votes and also some Democrats who really do think that our country ought to be ascending again rather than a country with diminished opportunities.
We'll be watching this very closely. Two titans in Virginia politics going for the Senate seat come November. Thank you so much for joining us today.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you, Allison.
Okay, thank you, sir. Will.
He could still get you a flower.
Maybe.